Moon, and Gemini reading. I'm so excited to be here. This is the time to speak your truth and then act on it. It's going to be really important to figure out what's going on inside and bringing that forward right now. We're going to pull here in just a moment, but if you're here, go ahead and say hi. I'm excited that you're with us. Yeah, go ahead and say hi. Let me know anytime during our reading if you want a card pulled. It'd be great if you tell me why. I have 2 different decks for personal card pulls, but you can jump in anytime and tell me about that. At the end, I will be pulling those cards. But I have notes over here, guys. One of the things I wanted to talk about was mindset. Gemini is great for mindset because your mind is already like moving at 1,000 miles per hour during the season. So definitely get your mindset right. I have a ton of videos on my channel that will help you with your mindset. I did 2 series, one on leadership. It's called the Soft Fire series. Definitely check that out if you're looking for mindset things. Hello, Jinx. Again, jump in, say hello when you're here. Jinx, you're kind of at the bottom of my screen, so there we go. And I have another one on money, and I have another money reclamation. I have another money series coming up. If there's something that you really want me to hit hard on, not only just spiritually, but just how to behave in the world, let me know in the comments. I really want to pull together series that are going to work for you. That's why I'm making this content. Something to make your life easier. But mindset's going to be really something huge that you need to do during this Gemini season. Also, we want to know what your messaging is, right? What are you putting out in the world? Why are you putting that out in the world? Definitely on your messaging, look at where you see things in duality. And I'm just going to bring this over because to me, this is the most amazing thing. Where you're talking about speaking things out. I got this last Thursday. It is Monday now, so that's just a few days. And it was given to me by some master gardeners. So I don't know what mix is in here or anything like that, but they said it should sprout soon. And that, to me, this was really fast. I guess I'm not very good at growing, but I'm getting better. But just like that, it is with your messaging, guys. Even though you're imperfect with your messaging right now, plant those seeds. Try some things out because you never know what's going to grow out of it. That's what's so important about getting your messaging on point. Again, if you just arrived, go ahead and say hi. I would love to hear from you and say hi back, as well as you telling me what is your message? What is it that you're trying to get out into the world? It's going to be really important. So you might as well start planting those seeds here in the chat. If you're watching this after we're done, you're watching the replay, still share what your message is, what you're trying to get out into the world. It's super important. Let me see what else I would. Oh, yes. So duality. We also need to look at things where we see things only in black and white and see, is it really duality or is it really a spectrum? Right? Gemini are the twins, so it's easy to see how duality is going to come up a lot right now. But it is really looking at the spectrum, how to see beyond the black and white. Again, this is going to help you refine your message, really help you move forward in the things that you want to move forward with. Again, that's what kind of you're planting the seeds of with this new moon. And get curious, right? Divine curiosity. Look to see. I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial for some. Let me take a drink while I say this. This might be a little controversial for some. But do you need to do whatever your spiritual practice is every day? Hello, Jello Jules. I hope I said that right. Do you need to do that every day? Do you need to do it some days? Do you need to do it more? Like, really get curious. I share so many practices with people that it's not even, it's like not even, right? But I tell them, do these some days, do these other days, do them over and over again until you like they become part of you, and then you don't need to do them anymore. Right? Or maybe you need to come back to them. Maybe instead of every day, you need to do it every other day. Really take a look at your practice and do that with curiosity. Right? I'm not trying to throw anyone off of whatever they are doing for their spiritual game, right? At all, right? We all have our path that we're living out. I'm just saying take a look, because sometimes we do things just because we think we're supposed to, not that they're doing anything to really serve ourselves or anyone else. Right? So that's what I mean by really take a look at what you're doing. All right. Let me see the rest of my notes, because we're going to start getting to choosing a deck. Yeah. So as you're doing all those things, make sure that you are journaling, that you're trying to get clear on things. I just want to go ahead and choose an overall card for our reading. This one's coming from the Magic of the Unicorns Oracle deck, in case anyone is interested. The card that's overall card for our reading is I Am Presence. What a beautiful card, right? I am presence. It says, expand your stellar gateway. I am that I am. Right? Truly, like I just talked about divine curiosity, right? Truly tapping in, letting that come in, those codes, those words, those feelings. You get that little kind of hint of something that you need to do that's coming in through the divine. When you're tapping into that stellar gateway, and you're saying, I don't know how to tap into stellar gateway, Africa. All right, then get with me, right? Book a cosmic consultation, book a soulful reset. I teach people all the time how to tap into that stellar gateway for themselves, right? You don't have to go through other people, right? Sometimes you're coming to this reading, right? And you're finding out new things. You're getting confirmations of things that you thought about, or little nudges that you had. That's how we come to these readings. But you initially need to know how to tap into that gateway yourself. It's so important, right? So I love that that card came up for us right now. Let me see. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go to the archetype cards. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pick a card. So I want you to choose a number between 1 and 3. Choose a number between 1 and 3. Okay, go ahead and you can put it in the chat when you choose your number between 1 and 3. Oops, that was one of them. And we're going to pick this other one. Ooh, it's back. And we've got our 3. So if you've chosen a number between 1 and 3, go ahead, put in the chat. So I'm going to start reading them now. Card number 1, artist. And as I read these cards, no, there's a little bit of all of them for each of us. But the card number that you picked, the one that you chose, is going to be the one that you need to pay the most attention to. But other aspects of this will come up. So the first card was artist. And so artist, the light attributes are expressing a dimensional life that is just beyond the 5 senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. Beautiful. So that's just really going in and helping and inspiring others to see and think differently. The shadow attribute is using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as a starving artist to elicit pity. If you're an artist, whether it's fine art or otherwise, right? If you are an artist, there's no need for you to be starving, right? That's not why you were given that gift. So let that go out of your mind. If you're an artist, you should be able to be supported by your art. Maybe it's not in the way that you initially thought you were going to get supported by it, but there's always a way for you to be supported by your art. And I say that also, whatever gift It is. Whatever creative endeavor, whatever you have brought in the world to share with others, there's always a way to be supported by it. You just might not love that way. There's choice in that. But don't come at me with starving artist, right? Go and inspire some people. Share what you do. You will be rewarded. Card number 2, prostitute. I've never seen this one before. I'm kind of excited. Prostitute. Light attribute. Accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. Right? Essentially what I was just talking about. No negotiating. You're not going to be, I guess I should say this. Don't be someone that you're not. Right? Don't negotiate the power of your spirit. You're going to share it. Shadow attribute. Places material considerations and security above self-development. Right? We're not looking to be materialistic. We're not going to negate our spirit, our journey, our gift for money. So even when I was talking about that with artists, right, we're not prostituting ourselves with our art. That's how I'm talking about. And when I say there might be a way that you need to do it without you knowing what it is that you're doing, right? Without it being maybe something that you like, maybe you're doing your art and it gets donated to a foundation, and through that foundation, that's how you're making money in some way, right? Maybe even you are able to have some control and you can go out into the mass market because, hey, just behind me, these art pieces, they were created by somebody, right? And maybe they were able to use that money to support themselves and go and do other things in the world. But it didn't mean that they were prostituting themselves for that money, right? That they were doing something that was unbecoming to their spiritual walk. That's what I'm talking about there. All right. Card number 3. These are some bangers coming out today. Healer. Card number 3 is healer. Interesting. Light attribute. So this is one that you picked, Jinx. Light attribute. Passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit. Ability to help transform pain into healing. And that's any kind of pain. Now, a lot of people think healer and they're thinking they're healing something that's physical with someone, which of course you can do. But it could be other kinds of pain. It could be psychological pain. It could be spiritual pain. All right, shadow attribute. Taking advantage of those who need help and failing to care for oneself. I have said it so many times. You have to put the oxygen mask on you first before you can help other people. In that same way, you can't be the starving artist and think you're going to help other people, right? You have to be fed and nourished and feel secure to get out there in the world. And if you can't give from an empty well, which just sounds so cliche, I know. But if I'm supposed to be helping others and I can't help myself, I won't be around that long to help other people. And if you're here, you have a heart to give. You have a heart to really help others. But know that you have to help yourself. You have to be able to nourish yourself. That's why I'm not here for starving artists. So just let that go. If you think, oh, well, I do this spiritual healing thing, I can't earn money. No, same thing as thinking you're the starving artist, right? You're not prostituting yourself for money, right? You're not compromising your spiritual journey when you make money. Please go watch my series on money reclamation. We talk about how money, there's this kind of mix up between spirituality and money. Like it's shameful to make money and be spiritual. Don't let that concept, that thought form corrupt you. And I'm serious about that. Don't let that thought form of money isn't spiritual or money is evil corrupt you. Go back and watch my money reclamation series, right? So you can tease that apart. So you're not worried about this prostitution aspect. Now, if you have questions about your card, we have lots of cards to go through, by the way. But if you have questions about your card, go ahead and drop them into the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, you can still drop them into the comments. I'm always happy to go back in because I answer all the comments. So definitely drop them in there. All right. I'm going to keep going with the reading. And again, if you have a desire to have me pull a card for you, just let me know if it has to do with business or if it has to do with personal things, because I was led today to have two different decks depending on what kind of question was being asked. So right now I'm going to keep pulling for our Gemini New Moon. All right, so let's see what we have here. It's more about this Gemini New Moon because we're really looking with this new moon just really what we're clearing out. And we've really kind of talked about that here with the cards that you just chose, right? And what is being offered going forward, right? What's being offered? And in this case, I think the offer has to do with help because I drew ancestors, family, survival, death, and worship. Family, survival, death, and worship. Ancestors. I love this card for today for a couple of reasons. But right now I'm going to get to this part of the reading with the Gemini. Your ancestors. Boy, they fought hard to get you here. Let me tell you. And they are still here helping you. You would not even be here without them. Right? All sorts of things could happen and you wouldn't be here. But you are here. And your ancestors' DNA is in you. They are some people who fought and scrimped and scraped and all the things so that you could be here and have a life. Even if the ones that you know that are alive aren't so friendly. Your ancestors behind you endured so that you could be here. Be thankful for that. Lean back on that ancestral wisdom as you're moving forward, as you're figuring out the things as the artist, right? As you're figuring out the things as prostitute or healer, right? Lean back on your ancestors so you can tap in and get support. Because what was the start of our reading? We started our reading with I am presence. Tapping into that stellar gateway, looking for a closer connection with the divine. Your ancestors can help you. They can help make way for that to happen so that you can get closer in a way that is so much easier. Don't you want that? I'm not saying you're going to take the easy button, but don't you want an easier time? Right? Don't you want to be able to, like have a shorter learning curve? Tap into your ancestors for that. All right? Let's see what's going to help us get fully aligned with this cycle. I'm feeling like two different cards for this. So let's see what this first one is. Get really fully aligned with this cycle. And again, if you've got questions, put them down in the comments because I will be pulling cards here. Again, individual. All right. So one of the things that's going to help us get fully aligned in the cycle, I pulled New Moon in Cancer. You and your loved ones are safe. Oh, I know. Like for some people, they are not feeling so safe right now. Just to know you and your loved ones are safe. That's what's going to help you get through a cycle. Just moving through with the knowledge that you have protection. And for some people are like, what do you mean I have protection? Have you ever noticed sometimes that you go some places that when you tell other people you went there, like, holy crap, how did you get out of there? Right? I went to a place, unbeknownst to me, really, that it was not a good place to go. And I went there actually at the behest of some relatives to help another relative. And I found out as I was preparing to go there, I should say, I told my coworker where I was going. They're like, let me go with you. They didn't say, hey, this is a bad place to go. Don't go there. They just said, let me go with you. And I thought it was so odd. And I thought, well, whatever. I thought I was helping someone get their car out of the shop. But it turned out the person that was holding the car was not a mechanic. It was a drug dealer. And so I'm just not familiar with this world. And so when I went to the place, which looked like sketchy straight out of a movie, I'm not going to lie. It looked straight out of a movie where bad things happen. But my friend was with me, and I decided to suck it up because all of a sudden I really understood the assignment, why I had to go with a lot of cash, and how I had to help my relative, right? So I went, I handed over the cash, I knocked on the door, said who I was there for, handed them the cash. They counted it partially, looked very, 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 very nervous, and said, hold on, yelled for my relative to get the F out of the place because some girl is here with two huge dudes. Sweetie, I was not there with two huge dudes. My friend was at the car, sitting on the hood of the car with a crowbar like this. There was no one else with me. Sometimes you do not realize how much you are taken care of. But they saw two huge dudes, one on either side of me, and really freaked the F out. My relative came out. My friend drove their car. So I was actually at that point very grateful my friend had come because I didn't know really what the assignment was till I got there. And I drove off and everyone was fine and nothing bad happened because I had spiritual protection that manifested itself just at the right time. Just at the right time to where that dealer saw two huge guys that I didn't know was there, but I was like, ooh, this guy must be doing the same stuff. Like, I was protected. That's the kind of protection we're talking about. When it says you and your loved ones are safe, as you're moving through this period, you have protection around you. Tap into that. I'm not saying go out and do reckless and dangerous things. No. But as you're moving through your everyday life and situations happened around you, you're protected. There's another protection mechanism that's in my family that is a jinn. So, a lot of people see genies as kind of, I don't know, tricksters. I see genies as wonderful protection measures. This one's been in my family for generations. Why are they watching over my entire family, my ancestors, and then going forward? I really never asked, but I'm glad they are. Because I have that protection for me and my family. You have protection for you and your family. All right. So, what else is going to guide you through this time, right? Through this time, through this new cycle. Let's see what else we have for this Gemini cycle. Again, let me know if you've got questions. I love that you tap into your ancestors when you cook, Jinx. That's a wonderful way to tap into your ancestors. All right. What else is coming up? Gemini cycle for the collective. How can we help? Balancing act. Card number 11. I love this. Balancing act. Whew. So sometimes it will feel like so much is going on. Remember earlier we talked about the duality that can come up at this time. and looking and seeing that it's actually a spectrum. It's a spectrum in front of you. It's not black and white. There is a spectrum. So as soon as you can see that, it no longer feels like a balancing act, right? It no longer feels like a balancing act. You don't have to be one way or another. You don't have to silo yourself. It was funny because I'm saying this because it just happened. It just popped out of my mouth earlier in a meeting. I was telling people, hey, you're introducing yourself, and everyone does different things. And I said, yeah, I am. I have two roles. Aha, the duality coming up, right? I have two roles. One role, I do a lot of techie stuff, and I help people with strategy and implementation. I have this whole system that I use that helps them with their business back end. And I'm known for that in a lot of places, right? In a lot of circles. And then I do stuff like I'm doing with you guys. I coach and I'm very woo. And, I help people really connect with the divine. Duality. Duality. That's how I just introduced myself. So as I'm looking at this and I'm bringing this together, I could have just brought that into one thing because who do I like to help with the implementation and strategy? The people who are just like me, coming out here, sharing their gifts, healing, artistry, all of those things, their creativity, and they're sharing those gifts with the world. And they really understand that tapping into the divine is what's going to get them through. Those are the people that I help. I help them with coaching and I help them with implementation and strategy. The whole shebang. And that's how I should introduce myself. Because I float along that spectrum of super techie and very, very left-brained, right? To very intuitive and flowy and feminine, right? Into the spirit. I bounce in that spectrum. Not many people do, but I'm so happy that I do because I get to lead this super interesting life working with amazing people. So, know the balancing act, that duality, look for how it's actually a spectrum, right? That's what's going to help you get through these times. All right, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I want to go ahead and answer them. So let me know if they have to do with personal or business because I got two different decks for that. I'm just trying to make sure had I pulled from everybody? No, I hadn't. I had this other deck here in case people had questions, but being led to pull out 3 more cards so you get your other questions ready and putting them in the chat. Or if you have any questions about the card that you picked earlier or any of the other things I've said today. It's all open. It's all fine. All right. Let's see here. What else needs to come out to help this collective during this Gemini season? What else needs to come out to help the collective during this season? All right. Well, we've got a couple of cards here. One more. 2 more. I'm not going to complain. All right. So what else is coming out to help you guys? These are the cards. Let's talk about them. So I always tell you that cards tell a story. So let's hear what story this has to say. We have the 10 of Swords. Conclusions. Yes. Right. The 10 of Swords conclusions. There's certain ways that we think about things or think about people. So I'm hearing there's certain ways we think about things and people and we draw our conclusions from there. That is your past. We aren't doing that anymore. Right? We're not going to, as I would say, as I got to know people, especially when I was younger, I would just think for them and decide, come to the conclusion that they aren't going to want to do X, Y, and Z. Right? It could be that simple where you're coming to conclusions about people or things. right? And sometimes that's a good thing to have. That's something that helped us survive a long time ago, was to see patterns and draw conclusions, right? We're wired for that, especially with people. Along the way, I've noticed it's become important to actually ask what they want and not assume. All right, so second card I pulled, this is going to get more into where we are now. The Two of Swords at a crossroads. I'm actually curious, what are we at a crossroads about? And I got the Hermit reversed at a crossroads because we've gained some knowledge, right? We're at this crossroads because we've gained some knowledge and we have a choice of what to do with said knowledge that we've gained. What else do we have here? Reverse, the Seven of Wands. Resilience reversed, right? We have a choice of what to do with this knowledge that we brought out. And that's the crossroads. We can share the knowledge. We can share our gift. We can hold it back for ourselves and tell no one. Keep that thing locked down tight. That's also a choice, right? That's also a choice. But we've got something. What are we going to do? Right? So I got the Seven of Swords. What did I say it was? Resilience. Seven of Swords reversed. So depending on how we go down that road, we're going to build up resilience or we're not. We're going to build up that resilience or not. Right? At that crossroads of sharing knowledge. When you share, you're going to have to become resilient. People are going to come at you. Someone came at me even right now in the chat. Right? Someone came at me. Did I let it bother me? Did I skip a beat earlier? No. There was a time that would have completely licked me out and I would have freaked out during this live. I've become resilient to people's nonsense. My message isn't for them. And I'm going to tell you right now, whatever knowledge that you have isn't for everybody. But it is for somebody, and probably a lot of somebodies. And it's getting you in front of the right somebodies that are here for your message. And I'm going to say this for my biblical people out there. If you ever like tramps around the Old Testament, every single one of those prophets were run out of town on a rail because people didn't want to hear what they had to say. But after they were run out of town on a rail and they went in front of a different group of people, they were interested in what they had to say. And you know why? Oh my gosh, coming back here to our conclusions. People have drawn conclusions about you. And when you break out of the pigeonhole that they've concluded that you belong in because of things you've done in the past, they don't want to hear anything from you. Not one little thing. So what you've got to do, right, is be willing to build up resilience and share your message with other people. Not the people who are around you that make you feel really super cozy. Those are great people. Nothing wrong with them. But there's other people starving for whatever message, whatever knowledge it is that you have. Get out in front of those people. And like I said earlier, you're absolutely free to keep your message to yourself. But I have a feeling that's not why you were giving your message. You're giving your message to go out there in front of people. Okay, so Jinx had a question. If you have a question, definitely put it out there in the comments. Jinx? That's a question. I have a book coming out later this year. Will anything other than myself affect its release? What? Okay, you hit me with a which deck should I choose to answer this with? Okay. I'm going to say a book is kind of like a business. So I'm going to answer it with the business one I was told to pull out. So Jinx wants to know, Jinx, first, congratulations on getting a book out this year. That is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations. But you want to know, is anything going to affect that release other than you? So what I want to know is about the release of the book for Jinx. The release of the book for Jinx. Anything we need to know about that? You're a writer. Have you ever heard the term sacrifice your darlings? I got the card Sacrifices. It's card number, sorry, this is a shiny surface, 53. Sacrifice. Card number 53. These cards I decided I was going to read. Usually I just kind of tell you, but for these last cards, I decided I was going to read. So I pulled out the books. This deck is called the Wild Muse deck. It's by Vanessa Simonia. I think I pronounced her last name correctly. Sacrifices. With great success often comes great sacrifices. It's essential that you remind yourself about what truly matters in your life, such as your health, career, or loved ones. Place your attention on keeping those things safe and be unafraid to sacrifice all else along your journey. So figure out, what are the big rocks for you? What are the things that no matter what need to happen, or they trump everything else? Okay. Don't be afraid of this card. Sacrifices are more than often not a positive thing. When unnecessary elements of your life fall away, and they will. I lost my place. You can increase your effectiveness and focus on what truly matters to you. Sacrifice ultimately leads you to simplify your life and make it to the next chapter. Just as a tree must sacrifice its leaves during autumn to conserve its energy, it's time for you to do the same and strip away anything that is unnecessary. So what is it that's unnecessary right now for you, Jinx? Right? Is there anything not allowing you to get to where you want to go? Now, there might be other things going on that are supporting you so you can get to where you go, but they feel like, I don't like them, I don't want to do them, but they are still necessary, right? All right, the healing. If you have attachment issues or a hard time letting go of things in general, this card can feel very confronting and in a way maybe even threatening. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, but at the same time, you don't really feel ready to let go of anything just yet. It's like standing in a closet full of things you never wear, but not wanting to get rid of any of the items. These types of attachments to the temporal plane have become a socially acceptable part of being human. However, remind yourself that any sacrifice you make is only as big as you allow it to be. And in some instances, you must be willing to take the financial hit to move forward. And other times, you might have to sacrifice all your free time to learn a new skill that will help you in the long run. Remind yourself of why you must make this sacrifice and what good can come out of it. Make the process easy on yourself by allowing only supportive thoughts. That's huge, Jinx. Other people have a question, this is your time to put it in. So the one thing I thought was really interesting in there, since you have a book that's coming out, if you have a publishing house, they want you to have a huge following. Do you have a following? If not, what are the other things are you going to do to support to get the book out? So you might have to make sacrifices on the way that you put your book out or how it's going to be received. Or it might be sacrifices on, oh, I need more money so I can do X, Y, and Z. It might be sacrifices on what you have to do to get money. Again, not to the point of prostituting yourself, right? Or compromising your soul. But it might be uncomfortable, right? There's things we could do that are uncomfortable but need to be done. Right now, I came out from gardening this morning, had a meeting, came here, did this live, and I'm going to go back out in the garden. Well, let me tell you, that's not comfortable. But I'm not compromising my soul doing it either. But for me, it's super uncomfortable because I don't like being outside. I don't like getting sweaty. And I don't like getting dirty. So it's like the trifecta of things I don't like. I like looking at nature, and I like being in climate controlled environments, looking at nature. Okay? And I live in Texas, and it's already super hot here. So the last thing I want to do is be in the garden. It's super uncomfortable. But when I think of the outcome, that I'll get even more flowers, even more butterflies, even more hummingbirds. I'm starting another part up where I'll be growing food. Yeah, when I think of that outcome, it's worth the sacrifice of being out there for a few hours. Absolutely worth that sacrifice. That's what I mean by making sacrifices. It feels uncomfortable, it feels grueling, it feels nasty, it feels dirty. It's like something that you wouldn't do no matter how much someone paid you. But you're going to do that thing for the outcome. As long as it doesn't compromise your soul. It doesn't compromise your spiritual walk. Let me know if that was helpful, James. I'd love to know if that was helpful. And if you're here, again, say hi, dive in with your question, because I will be answering questions here for another minute or two if they come up. Not, I'm going to start wrapping up because, well, I got to get back out to the garden, right? I have things that's going to happen. So Jinx, let me know if that was helpful or if you have more questions, because I'm happy to answer more questions if necessary. Right? Or expand. Okay, I think I understand what I need to do. Thanks. You are welcome, Jinx. I'm very excited. And let us know down in the comments when the book comes out. Now, give us an opportunity to support you in your message. Now, I'm going to say again, I said this at the beginning. We all have a message that we need to get out there. And I want to be able to support you and your message. But I have no way of doing that if I don't know what it is. Anyone else watching this video has no way of doing that if they don't know what it is. Comment below, share what your message is, share what you're doing. Allow us the opportunity to support you. And if you like my message and want to support me, definitely like this video and subscribe. I go live a few times a month, and I have a whole bunch of different series and other information that I think you're going to love, and that's going to support you on your journey. So with that, I'm going to say peace, joy, love to you. Have a wonderful day. And if you're in the States, a wonderful Memorial Day.